Yusuke Yotsuya, a socially detached and pragmatic high schooler, spends most of his time avoiding others. He's a loner by choice, uninterested in forming friendships or joining the flow of life around him. For Yotsuya, the world is predictable, dull, and full of meaningless routines. One seemingly normal afternoon, as Yotsuya stares out the classroom window, something inexplicable happens. In an instant, he's no longer in his familiar Tokyo surroundings. Instead, he finds himself standing in a strange, otherworldly landscape. The sky is an unnatural blend of colors, and the air feels heavy with a sense of danger. Yotsuya sees two familiar faces nearby: Shindou, an outgoing and athletic classmate, and Kusue Hakozaki. Before he can ask any questions, a surreal figure materializes before them, the Game Master. Its form is unnerving, humanoid yet featureless, with a smooth, blank face and an emotionless tone. The Game Master explains their predicament. They've been summoned to a parallel world where they must complete a series of quests. Each quest grows progressively more difficult, and their survival and the survival of their real world depends on their success. If they fail, the consequences will ripple beyond this realm, leading to catastrophic destruction back home. As the Game Master assigns them roles, Yotsuya waits, expecting something heroic or powerful. Instead, he's designated as a farmer, his weapon, a rusty hoe. Shindou is a mage with basic wind magic, and Hakozaki is a warrior with a small sword. Yotsuya can't hide his irritation. A farmer, how is he supposed to fight with that? Their first quest is revealed: defeat a troll that has been terrorizing a nearby village. The Game Master disappears, leaving the group to fend for themselves. Shindou and Hakozaki, already shaken from their earlier experiences in this world, struggle to stay calm. Shindou tries to take charge, but the group's lack of coordination and combat experience quickly becomes apparent. Yotsuya, despite his initial reluctance, begins to take note of his surroundings, analyzing the situation with his sharp, logical mind. As they make their way toward the troll's location, the group encounters smaller creatures. Yotsuya observes how each of them handles combat. Shindou's wind magic is weak and takes time to cast, while Hakozaki hesitates, paralyzed by fear. Yotsuya, though untrained, discovers that his farmer's weapon isn't entirely useless. With quick thinking, he uses it to distract and outmaneuver enemies. When they finally reach the troll, the danger becomes very real. The creature is enormous, with thick, leathery skin and brutal strength. Their first attempt to attack is a disaster. The troll swats them aside like flies, and Hakozaki is injured. The group retreats, shaken and desperate. Yusuke Yotsuya heads to the village, determined to complete the quest and revive Shindou. With the stakes higher than ever, failure is not an option. They approach the village chief, seeking guidance on how they could assist with the quest and bring peace back to the troubled settlement. But unfortunately, they learn the truth: their path leads them back to the same formidable monster they barely escaped before. Yotsuya resolved to raise his rank alone, instructing Hakozaki to stay behind. However, Hakozaki insisted on helping, but Yotsuya reminded her that if she fell, their entire mission and their world would be lost. Despite knowing the dangers ahead, Yotsuya couldn't help but smile deep down. He was excited by the challenge that lay before him. Yotsuya ventured into the forest, determined to find a weaker goblin he could defeat to raise his rank and strengthen his chances of survival. Upon spotting the goblins, Yotsuya wasted no time and launched his attack. However, one managed to slip away, disappearing into the shadows of the forest. As Yotsuya rested, a chilling message appeared before him: Hakozaki had died. Without hesitation, he rushed back to the village, only to find it under attack and in chaos. Desperately, Yotsuya searched for Hakozaki, but she hadn't revived. A grim thought crossed his mind: she must have been eaten. Out of nowhere, the monstrous creature materialized in front of him. Panic surged through Yotsuya as he realized that survival was his only option. With no time to waste, he turned and fled, but the creature's movements were far more terrifying than he had anticipated. It didn't just chase him, it hopped relentlessly, its massive leaps closing the distance with alarming speed, like a frog springing after its prey. As Yotsuya scrambled to come up with a plan to defeat the monster, an injured goblin suddenly appeared. It was the same one that had escaped earlier. Without a second thought, Yotsuya quickly struck it down. In that moment, the game master appeared, its ominous presence casting a shadow as it spun the wheel of fate, preparing to determine what would happen next. The game master spun the wheel of jobs, and Yotsuya watched in tense anticipation, hoping it would land on Warrior, but to his disbelief, the wheel stopped on Chef, sealing his fate with an unexpected and frustrating twist. With his new job as a chef, Yotsuya gained unexpected internal knowledge about rank C monsters. Using this insight, he strategically targeted the creature's weakness, slicing its stomach open. To his relief, both Hakozaki and Shindou were revived. Yotsuya demonstrated the movement pattern he had observed earlier, pointing out the creature's predictable attacks and openings. They began to notice the monster's growing weakness. The wound inflicted earlier had taken a toll, and the continuous loss of blood was sapping its strength, leaving it slower and more vulnerable with each passing moment. Yotsuya quickly devised a plan, and Shindou immediately understood her role in the strategy. Acting without hesitation, Yotsuya charged forward, targeting the monster's already wounded stomach. His strike landed, but at a cost. He sacrificed himself to create the opening they needed. Seizing the moment, Shindou climbed onto the monster's back, her resolve unshaken. With a burst of energy, she cast her wind magic, channeling it into a powerful spell that detonated upon impact, obliterating the monster's head in a single, decisive explosion. The battle was over, their teamwork finally bringing the beast down. With the monster defeated, their ranks increased as a reward for their efforts. As the quest concluded, the game master appeared once more, granting Yotsuya the opportunity to ask one question. It was a rare chance, and Yotsuya knew he had to choose his words carefully, as the answer could change everything. Yotsuya asked the game master about the 10th step, and it showed them a video of a world in chaos, overrun by monsters and on the brink of destruction. In an instant, they found themselves back where they had started, the familiar sights and sounds of their everyday world surrounding them once more. It felt surreal, as if everything they had endured in the game had been a distant dream. But they quickly realized that time had completely stopped while they were in the game. No one around them had noticed their absence, and life had continued as if nothing had happened. With their normal routines waiting for them, they were left to process the weight of their experience, knowing it was far from over.